Hi everyone, welcome back to Curing My Stage Fright. I'm Julie, and whoa, is that you out there? I see you. For all you audio listeners out there, this is the first video episode of 2024. Actually, the first video episode of the whole show ever. And I'm so excited that I got to do it with my friends, Sam Shaw and Matt Grossman, the co-owners of Spotted Leaf Plant Company, located in downtown Somerville, New Jersey. This was a lot of fun to do. I want to let it speak for itself, so let's get into it, and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, how are we? We're good?
Good.
The mics are good?
Mics are good.
Everybody's feeling good?
Fine, yeah.
I can talk louder and move closer. Talk
Just
right
move the mic.
directly
Yeah,
in the
move
mic.
the mic
I will
closer
talk
to your-
into the mic.
your gobble
Hello.
gobble.
Wow.
Yes.
Get that radio
Perfect.
voice back. Channel
cool.
that 90.3 the core energy.
I actually don't think I can go any louder than this right now. All things considered.
Welcome to 90.3 The Core.
I have a
Welcome.
hair in
Too
my
much.
mouth,
That
and
was
then
too
I'm
much.
done and be ready.
That was too much.
I don't think I can do the radio voice.
You don't
Okay.
have to do that.
Well, I don't think I could.
Don't worry.
Everybody's regular voices right now, as they are, is perfect.
Great.
We are here at Spotted Leaf Plant Company at, what's your address?
We are on Main Street in downtown Somerville, New Jersey.
Main Street, downtown Somerville, New Jersey.
46 East.
46, thank
East
you.
Main.
I thought it was 46, and then I thought maybe I was just getting confused about the highway, but the highway is not even close to here.
46 highway?
46 is not close to here.
Not
so.
close.
So it's 46 East Main, Suite 103.
If you want to send us fan mail.
Yeah,
Yes.
You
we
wanna
have a
come
Tito
here and buy
mailbox, yeah.
plants.
But not West Main.
No.
Because West Main is the other end of Somerville.
what's at 46 West Main?
I don't think
Is
there
it
a
something, like,
46 West Main.
So it's
scary?
gotta be something close.
I'll Google it later.
All
I'm
right.
Sure
We'll
it's
take a
something.
look.
Well, anyway,
Might get the
Sam
camera.
Shaw and Matt Grossman, owners of this business, friends of mine for a long time.
A long time?
A longer time than I remember often. Because I was thinking about this today. I actually had a dream last night about the Morristown Game Vault shout out where we all met. And I feel like it was very, is prescient the word? It was like I woke up from that dream and I was like, why did I dream about the Game Vault? And now I'm here with you
Oh.
guys.
That makes
What was
sense.
the word
Word
you used?
prescient?
No.
Nope.
Okay. Well, anyway, to do a quick little journey back into the past. I met you guys. You know, people wonder how you make friends as adults. Sometimes you graduate college, you don't know what to do with your life, and you work at a local arcade for like a year, and through that, you meet Matt Grossman, you meet Sam Shaw,
You meet your besties.
you meet your
Proper
besties, and then you do all sorts of business ideas with them for the years to come. But we met working at an arcade. You are an engineer, though, by trade. You make
Yeah.
glue or something?
At the time, I made glue, correct?
Yes, okay. I just wanted to make sure I was
I
clear on the
didn't make
glue.
the glue, but I worked for a company that made glue.
Okay. And but like math engineer guy.
Yes,
That's
yeah.
like your thing.
Chemical engineer.
Chemical
my
engineer.
Previous profession.
Right. And Sam was working for the business partnership of Morristown.
Correct. I was a marketing and events manager for the downtown of Morristown and then moved to the downtown of Somerville. But we met when I was in Morristown, and then we all worked for fun at the arcade,
Yes.
which is where I had to think about how I ended up there.
You would come in, I remember, I think everybody got sucked in because anybody who stopped in regularly, David, or the owner of the arcade, who was wonderful, would be like, you need hours? Anybody want some hours?
I think
And
I
so
just offered to help
Matt
out.
was
A lot of
there, and then
hours.
you started showing up.
So how it happened was, so some of us worked there for fun. Some of us didn't have as much fun. I think we all had fun, but there was other individuals who worked there for work.
For
right?
work, yes.
I hope they had fun, but I don't think they had that much fun. But I had worked at the farmers markets on the weekend, and then one day David came down. I don't know why. I think to see you maybe because you had worked for the partnership at the time.
Yes.
And you said something about the farmers market. So he came down because the partnership ran the farmers market, and I worked there. And then on the weekends, and then he was like, "What are you going to do when the farmers market's over?" And I said, "I'm going to not do the farmers market." And then he said, "You want some hours?" So then I worked there, picked up some hours, and then you were like, "I want to pick up some hours."
Yes,
but
that
not
is-
all the time because you had stuff to do on weekends sometimes.
Yes.
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 So it was a very low commitment but
Yeah.
high fun job. Remember when
Yes.
those hockey parents tried to drink in there?
Good times.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was actually good exposure for us.
I will say
yeah.
that working part-time at an arcade was definitely probably one of the most easily transferable like jobs that we've had to owning our current business.
Right.
Which in reality sounds a little wild, but yeah, working part-time in an arcade. And that was probably the first time that you and I worked together at a place that wasn't like school, you know, because Matt and I met at Rutgers, so we met at
Yes.
school and
Working together
we
at
like
school.
worked together at school, like kind of.
Yeah.
We were RAs, so that's work, not really, but you know,
Right.
like we worked together, but we didn't like it wasn't like a job.
It
But yeah, kind of, but like
It's just kids in charge of other kids.
yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
That's a better way to put it.
very good way
That's
to
a better
put
way
it,
to put
Julie.
it. So we like worked then,
Yes.
and then, but I think the Game Vault was the first time we like. It was like you and me working together in a store,
Yeah.
you know, owned by a person, wonderful person, and met you through that.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that was the first experience we had working together as a unit.
Yeah, together.
And I
together.
should say for the listeners and viewers at home, you guys are married.
Yes.
And you have been together for the entire time that I've known you, which is at least 6 years and
Correct.
then
Yes.
more,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we have been together nine
Almost 10 years now.
Oh, it'll
Wow.
be 10 years next year.
That's
Yeah, we've
fucking
been together.
crazy.
Which is weird.
9 years.
Yes.
I think 9 years just around now, right? Yeah.
Yep. What year are we in?
9.
2023.
2023.
Yes, that would be
When this
correct.
podcast was
Yeah,
filmed.
9 years.
And so yeah, so something that I think is interesting about you guys is that, well, first of all, everybody loves and admires you. Everybody I know who knows you guys as a unit and as individuals is like, oh my God, Sam and Matt. Like, you know, you want a love like they have, whatever. But you guys also work together and you work successfully together, I would say, at least from like my perspective. And so I've mentioned this definitely before on this show, and it's like the mission of this show is that like performance is not just about getting on a stage and doing something, but it's also about like how you interact with people in the world around you. And I think that owning a business, especially a business that has a really big like social media following, is very performative, and to do that with somebody who you're like so entwined with in every part of your life is probably, you make it look easy, but I would imagine it might not be all the time. You know what I mean?
It's true. I feel like this role of being like business owners in a partnership together is actually in speaking of like performance anxiety and just like the you know, the pressures and things like that. I almost feel more pressures in this role, in this space, and you might feel the same way, than even like, you know, previously I've performed, like I have a musical background and like I've done pageants in my past, and I've been on stages in front of many people, and the level of anxiety then and performance, you know, related anxiety then, probably not as high as it is now in this space of like, I think there's just more pressure of, you know, managing your own business. And I put that pressure on myself definitely too. Like the stakes are higher. And, you know, we want everything to run smoothly and go well. And it's all kind of like, it's you putting yourself out there in like a different kind of a way. So it's like not necessarily a performance, quote unquote, from like what you would necessarily call a performance, but like we're teaching classes and we're like, you know, coming up with ideas for our business, and people are walking in, and it's like our entire hearts and soul go into this place that people are walking into. So it's like, you know, the feedback, it's hard not to take a lot of that stuff personally, because we are putting our entire beings into this space, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
you know,
no, it totally does.
So I'd say it's almost more performative in a lot of ways than even performance in what a traditional sense of performance looks like.
Yeah,
from my experience.
Yeah, I think it adds more layers to it of working. Like, you know, we have a business, and then we work on the front lines of that business, and then our relationship too is also on the front lines of that business. And we market it that way a little bit. I think we lean into it a little bit because it is the truth, but it definitely. I mean, it definitely adds another layer on it. I don't think it adds that much more complexity for us. But I think yeah, it definitely it puts you out there more.
Yeah.
Like, I think the vulnerability is a lot higher because it's not just that. Like you're not even talking about just like does your, you know, obviously like does your business do well, but then you have this whole like relationship at the forefront of it too. So it's like how does that all intertwine, and all of that's out there for everyone to see. So it's just more complex, I would say.
Yeah.
It's good and bad, I think. Good for us. Maybe bad for, I don't know how it works out for everyone else, but.
Well, it's an interesting dynamic because people want to see us, and they want to see like even like when we talk about things like social media, like they want to see, you know, they want to hear our story and they want to see us. So we're definitely putting ourselves out there in ways that we wouldn't on a normal, you know, in like normally in our jobs or in like a normal day-to-day basis. Like it's not like we're going to be talking about, you know, our story or our relationship or our, you know, whatever, but even our customers have a lot of interest in, you know, that story as, you know, like from, I guess, a human perspective, because there's a lot of like I think it's just, it has to do with a lot of small business vibes as well, like just being small business owners and like people wanting to connect to like that small business community and like getting to know the story. And so we have to kind of tell that story and put that out there, and that can be a little scary at times, or maybe uncomfortable is a better word. It's like it's not a super comfortable thing that we're fully used to yet, so it's just kind of something that we didn't even think about, but we've just been like kind of thrown into that, and we're just kind of growing with that, of just putting ourselves out there like all the time pretty much. So yeah, it's like you know, however we show up is how everybody's going to perceive us, you know. Even like coming in and opening the store, it's like if I'm having a day, like everybody in the club going to be seeing that, you know? So we have to kind of maintain the energy that we want to put out. And so I think that could definitely translate to performance for sure. Yeah. And that's a dynamic that we've never really had to experience before.
Yeah. Prior to owning this shop, you guys pioneered a fall festival that I got to help with, which was so fun. It was like, I guess, 2018?
Yes.
Years ago.
2018.
Sunshine Fields, shout out. And that was like, I feel like the premise for this. That was like the first time that I could tell anyway. Well, you guys had like a woodworking business as well, and that was heavily involved in the making of all of the things that went to all the props and all the signage and everything for this fall festival. But I remember, this is like a very small thing, but kind of talks about what you were saying, Sam, where like people would come in and you guys were still dating at the time, but you were running this festival and you were like young 20s people, and you had to like put on this show of like, we have the corn maze and we have the pumpkins and it's family friendly and it's and it was so beautiful and so fun. But I remember, Matt, you were always saying like, oh, well, my partner, Sam, and my partner, and I remember asking you about it one time and you're like, well, it sounds like more grown up and professional. And that's like part of that story that you have to say. If you're like, my girlfriend and I started a fall festival, it's like, it doesn't sound as it's like just as valid, but it sounds like, oh, I'm like a little kid and this is my girlfriend and we're running this like fake but real business together.
No,
whereas like you have to like tell people like, oh, well, this is the performance that I have to put up, where it's like, I'm a grown-up and my partner is a grown-up too, and we run a business and you have to take us seriously.
Yes,
like,
the story is the same, but it's like how you tell it is different. And like people perceive that differently. Like even if we were to say it in that way, like the intent is equal. But yeah, people definitely perceive things in ways that we have to be cognizant of and like kind of play out to that. So that's definitely something that we've been mindful of over the time. And I don't even know if you did that like from thinking about it, or if you said the word girlfriend and then felt weird about it.
Yeah, I know girlfriend doesn't sound very professional.
So, you know.
Sounds like a guy who like is delivering pizzas and he's like, oh, my girlfriend's going to drive with me to deliver the pizzas. You know what I mean? That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
It's very, you know. Yeah.
I don't know. They should come up with a better word for that. Webster or whoever decides that.
Yeah. Somebody write in a better word that isn't partner. I mean, partner's fine, but partner could mean business partner. It could mean like so many things.
I think that's why people use partner. But like girlfriend, I don't know. Boyfriend sounds a little bit better. What are your thoughts?
I think it's kind of the same.
But I can see what you mean though. I think it's kind of the same. So yeah.
Woman friend, no.
That's
my
worse.
lady friend. Sounds like you have 6 lady friends in rotation.
Yeah. Saying that at the store.
Please
my lady friend on the store.
Hey,
lady bestie, no.
That's rough. That's rough.
We'll brainstorm it later.
Yeah. Me and my lady friend.
Yeah, but I mean, to your point with, yeah, I think that the balance as you're talking about, like putting on a performance, even like then, and we were running the fall festival back then of. Like the language you use, but it still needs to be true. You know what I mean? I think when you get to where you're performing, but you feel like you lean into it, but if you lean too far, like you're like you don't really know what you're doing anymore. So I think it's like not picking and choosing, but like with practice you get better at it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, like maintaining authenticity, I think is like part of that too. Like it's like making sure that you are like being real and being who you are and trying to maintain that while also maintaining that professionalism, while also being aware of how other people are going to perceive you and not want to think about it, but also kind of have to think about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you don't want to be like, oh, I got to think about what other people are going to think about me. We love to not have to think about those types of things. And I think to like some degree we don't like, and
not anymore.
I think, well, I myself have had trouble with that because I've always wanted to be hyper aware of how others can perceive myself, and that's something that I'm still working on as a people pleaser, a recovering people pleaser, a recovering people pleaser. So that's definitely been a little bit tough, but just trying to think about it and not in a way that we have to adjust who we are to play to that.
Yeah, it's hard to feel like you can maintain authenticity if you're thinking about how other people are going to receive what you're doing or saying, but also like knowing that being authentic is what people want out of you. And it's like it's like a big circle of it's confusing.
It's very
I feel like you, Sam, in specific, are like very like especially with like all this like social media stuff. I think that you're like so real all the time. And I feel like when I like write, this is gonna sound stupid and vapid, but it's like when I'm like writing captions for things, I'm like, I'm just gonna go off in the way that I want to do. And I feel like you have always done that. Like when you put yourself out on like social media or whatever, or if it was for Forest and Farm, which was your woodworking business, or Sunshine Fields, or this, it's like I can read it as you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think that that's really important because I know you're crafting it in a way that is supposed to be like digestible and perceived well, but also it doesn't feel like, hey, we got a great deal on this. Like it doesn't feel like advertising or whatever. And I think that that's important. And I feel like of the two of you, Sam, you are the more forward facing, and you've always kind of been this way in my perception anyway, and I feel like you'd agree. You're like the client facing, to use a term. You're like I'm out there talking to the people, and Matt's like, I gotta get more seeds, he's like doing all of the like the logistics and manual. Like obviously I'm sure you both like split that, but like
now,
I would
definitely. In the beginning, you're totally right, because I think, in the beginning too, I started at least here at Spotted Leaf, like started that journey full time first, and then Matt was still working full time, and then was helping here at Spotted Leaf part time. But so I was definitely that first face, which eventually led to burnout, which eventually led to me needing help, which eventually led to him being more of the face. But in the beginning, I think for sure, and even still with social media, it is my voice for the most part, like captioning those captions in all of the platforms that we've had, like for the multiple businesses that we've run over time, with the woodworking business we first did, and then the farm, and then now the plant shop. We've and I actually think the main reason why it's so much easier for me now to just write a caption that is very much authentic, what I feel like would be my voice, is because the first couple of times with the first platform and the first profile I created, I sat there and I just tried so hard to write these captions, and I'd be writing these things, and I'd be saying like, yep, like we got this new product and you should definitely go buy it. And I felt so awful and so wrong, and I felt like it just wasn't at all anything that I wanted to put out there, because it just didn't feel like me. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel good. And, I thought that it's also just not like, you even see that stuff now on social media or on Instagram, and like most of the most effective advertising is not done in that way. A lot of it's more informal. A lot of it is like you want to kind of like support someone that feels like a friend of yours, or you want to see, like, even when I click on Instagram ads, it's like Instagram ads that are like funny or like catching, or, you know, it's not like buy this now, like, you know. So I think coming up with that voice over time was easy, because the more I wrote out what things were expected to be of writing out like an ad or a product ad or whatever it was, and it felt so wrong, made me realize that I should just squash it right now. And the more informal I could be, and if I don't write in capital letters, and if I say things like, you know, hashtag hey girl, like, you know what I mean, like, it would be fine, and people would probably relate to that more, and then it would go better that way, and it did, I think. So yeah, that's probably, like, from doing it the one way and then realizing that this is not the voice that I can connect to at all whatsoever, and if you don't feel connected to that, then nobody else is going to feel connected to that. And then moving from there and just trying to be more like real with our words made it easier, and then now it just feels like second nature, you know?
Yeah. I feel like last time I was here, I was talking to you, Matt, about this a little bit with like the social media of everything, of every industry being so, I want to say prescient again. I think that's the wrong word.
I don't know what that word means. That's right. I didn't say no before. I
think it
right.
means,
I don't know what it means.
I think it means like a forewarning or something, or like relevant, like something is like, this is prescient, meaning it's like of the time of I don't know, somebody tell me.
That sounds
I'm
right.
wrong.
You sound very convincing.
Thank you. I should just say, I should just be confident, and then you'll be like, yeah, that's totally the right word. But it's like everywhere and everything. It's like, if I want to do comedy or promote this podcast or get this podcast to hit people because I want them to like it and I want them to listen to it, I like don't want to have to go and make a TikTok about it. But I'm like, maybe I do. Maybe I should start doing video recordings of it so that more people will share it and like it or whatever. Like, there's like, or like, I want to be like, if I want to do comedy, should I do like the front facing silly like sketches? And like, there's like that. To me, it's like, I would rather, I'm already scared of doing so many things, but I would rather just like go up and like perform live every night than have to like feel like I'm selling myself out to like the machine of social media. But I feel like from a business perspective, it must be interesting. Like, I feel like you probably embrace it a little bit more than, like you were saying, like with traditional ad stuff. It's like, it does give businesses the opportunity to relate to consumers, because you can do like a little silly trend and be like, oh, that's funny, this like small business is doing this trend that I just did with my friends to try to like make people laugh or whatever. But like, I feel like, does it make it more like, that's a whole nother element of having to put yourselves out there, is like, do I have to be funny online to get people to buy my plants? Do I have to be funny or like engaging online to get people to like us and our store? Like,
totally.
How does that work for you guys?
I think we focus, and I think we have focused for a while on not whatever we believe, putting forward whatever we believe in. I think is that, and not in like a serious way, because we sell plants, right? I mean, it's a good experience here, but it's not. We don't do anything that serious. But at the same time, like, we just put. It's the same thing Sam was saying. Just put forward what we're comfortable with, and we put forward a part of ourselves. And I think in exchanging the possible like being disgenuine of doing like what could be perceived as being disgenuine of like doing a trend or trying to become someone else to promote the product, we have to embrace the vulnerability more of putting ourselves out there to invite people in that way, and put a part of ourselves out there instead of adding a part of ourselves which we think people would like, right? So like, I think we lean into that a lot more, or at least I do, and I find that makes me a lot more. It didn't make me comfortable before.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable, but now I think because we have so much more practice at it, we're in a lot deeper into this, and I feel a lot more comfortable with what we do now. I think it's better.
Yeah.
I think like even a lot of stuff like you were saying, like, I think leaning into like trends or different things like that, we still have a hard time doing that. I have a really hard time doing that. It's very cringy to me. It's rough. It's rough. Like we'll look at stuff and I'll veto stuff sometimes, or even like most of the content that we get is like pretty like natural content, I would say, right?
Yeah.
Like we taking pictures is taking pictures, but like
Right.
the other stuff, like I'll veto a lot of times because it's just not natural. So you know what I mean? Like it's good and stuff like that, but even like it's even tough for me. Like we did a picture, like we took pictures of the teachers, and then I was like, oh, just take all the pictures of the teachers today. And Sam's like, no, we have to let everyone know so they can wear what they want to wear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, in the picture.
Yeah.
And like that's not even something I really like think of.
Right.
Because I'm just like, but these are how our teachers are. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
Like,
And that's totally valid.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah. But that wasn't cringy or anything. I totally was like, that makes a lot
Right.
of sense.
But
like,
you are also not like, you have not, as from what I know, you are not like in Sam's position where you don't have a music background, you don't have a performance background or anything like that, right?
No,
I feel
no.
like you've always been like a little bit more not shy about that stuff, but it just doesn't come as like, I feel like Sam, you have a really in tune sense of like understanding how to like, obviously you think about it all the time, and it's like not great to have to think like we were saying about like, how do I be authentic and get people to believe me, but I don't want to think about it. Yeah,
probably.
you just like, I feel like this is gonna sound mean, and I don't mean it in a mean way, but like you're not thinking about it just
No,
because you're
that's so
not,
real.
you're just not thinking about it.
For Matt, probably it's a little bit more like it's a little easier for you to feel like you want to put out what's natural and do what's natural because that's what you always have done, and that's what it's easy for you to portray that.
I think the role I have is a little different too.
Yeah.
Because the spaces that I operate in are not for impressions or likes, because I help Sam with that stuff, but she does the majority of it. But the work that I do is more in like either when I am facing customers now, more one-on-one or like groups of 15 or less.
Yeah.
Like pretty much, like exclusively, you know what I mean?
But so how do you feel like being at like in the physical space now, like coming like Sam and Matt, how were you with like, okay, we have this business and now I have to confront people head on and be the face of this new mom and pop business, and everybody knows that we're married and we run this shop and like we have this reputation and this image to uphold. Like, was it hard for you, Matt, in particular, to like do the customer stuff, or was it just kind of like?
Yeah, I think in the beginning, what do you think it was? Do you think?
For you or for me?
Well, for both, I would
asking
love
you-
both.
I'm asking you for me.
Sam, you've had much
What's
more, I
your?
think, experience doing like working at the Game Vault, working for two different partnerships.
Yeah.
You've done like. In my head, for as long as I've known you guys, you, Sam, have always been like I'm gonna go out there and entertain this group of teenagers who wants to take pictures in the dahlia field, and Matt's like not really. He'll be like, it's over. Here it is. Like, you're so helpful, but you are not thinking about like what's the best angle for their photo and how to like.
I think that's a really interesting point, because I think it's still like that in a certain way. I'm trying to think the best way to describe it. I think the way that I am in front of customers has to do with my individual connection with that group or person.
Yes.
Was the more important thing. Or Sam will take an approach of not with necessarily her connection with that individual person or customer, but the connection that the individual person or customer has with the space or the experience. Right?
Yes, that's accurate, I think. So I think, well, I actually think that you've grown a lot in that way, like for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I have to take better pictures, so.
Well,
It's a serious thing.
That's
I've got
partially-
a lot better at it now.
Yes,
If anyone comes in, I
yeah.
can take a good picture with a
I think
couple different angles.
if any of our customers were to say, their experience with you now, they would probably feel like, they would think that you've been on the forefronts the whole time, and that's what you put forward, because you've kind of grown into that and like embraced that role now, whereas in the beginning perhaps like less so, but you do definitely do a lot of it. You do a lot of it. Hate that. But you do a lot of like personal connecting with people, and I think that like Matt is a very curious human, so he definitely wants to learn about people, and he'll kind of go that extra mile to understand something about somebody that he's never met before, which I admire so much, and I think that that's really cool about you as a business owner too, because you really do connect with with everybody that you meet, whether it's you're teaching a class or whether it's someone coming through the door. You create that level of connection where you maybe you don't know their name, however,
Usually
you know
not.
everything else about them, and it's funny because you don't even usually ask their name, but you'll ask everything else about their lives. So I think that level of like connection for you is what has made you grow into this role of being such a naturally, I guess, like not, I wouldn't even say open person, but like you have that warmth of being able to connect people in that way. Whereas I am probably more focused on the general like experience for everybody. Like no matter who walks through the door, like I'm gonna connect with them on a more like, this is your safe space and I am your safe person, and this is what we're gonna do and here's where we're gonna be. And I think like perhaps maybe I don't connect as deeply with everybody as Matt does, but I connect with everybody. So I think the two of us together in those joint forces has created this space that has given everybody such a sense of like, I don't know how I would describe it. I mean, other people describe it as like home and the vibes and whatever, you know, like they come in and they're like, this place hits different. And I think it's because we just really want to create that experience for everybody that they feel like, you know, included or connected, or they have a sense of, you know, home or a sense of whatever. And, you know, yes, we are just selling plants and we do a lot of experiences in the back, but I think like the types of people we are and what we want to create for other people is the main reason why we decided to do this in the first place. And I think when we stay true to that is how we've been able to like translate that to like social media too, of like, you know, it's easier for us to say, or I guess I'll put it this way. I don't necessarily look at social media as like a chore or as like a way that I need to broadcast something. It's more of like, there are actually people who genuinely really care and want to know. And if I don't post or if I don't say anything, they're missing out on things that they really want to know about. Or if I don't send an email out, or if I don't post this post, or if I don't post this story, I try to remove like the vulnerability of like how I'm actually feeling about it, and just remember that so many people want to know or want to hear about it or want to connect with us. And that's the reasoning then behind me posting or doing it, because I know there's a lot of people that want to hear it. And maybe this might help you too in that sense. Like, you know, it's like rather than you just pushing it out there because you feel like you have to, or because you feel like that's the way you're gonna like share it, knowing that there's even a few people, like when we first opened, it's not like a lot of people knew about us right away. So it's like, even those few customers, those few very loyal customers we had, like this was like, they wanted to know everything about Spotted Leaf ever. And so knowing that there were those few people sparked that connection of not thinking about it like it was just social media and it was this chore. It was like, these are these people who like genuinely care so much,
right?
And that's what matters, you know.
Yeah. I feel like since I've started this podcast, I have gotten a little bit more comfortable with all of that social media stuff. When I was in college, I went for communications and advertising. Super good degree to have when you're like, I don't know what I want to do with this at all. But a lot of it, you have a journalism degree, right?
Yeah. Same.
And I have an anecdote that I will bring up later about another past career of yours that I remember you telling me about. But anyway, like there was a lot of like social media management stuff, a lot of like how to do your brand, how to start a blog, whatever. And I was like, I don't want to do any of that. Like, especially if it's for somebody else, like there is like an element of like stage fright about like, what if I put out the wrong thing and I'm not in the brand voice, and I say something stupid and on behalf of this company or on behalf of this account, and now I'm gonna get fired or I'm gonna just look stupid. Like, since I now have my own project that I run that I love doing, I feel like I can post as myself and just be like, I'm speaking in the voice of my project, so it's not exactly me, but it's like, here's me and my cat and my crazy looking file with all like the episode's gonna be late again because I got distracted. And it's like, I feel so much more comfortable just being able to like do that, and because it's my own. And I feel like now that you have your own thing, it's probably like easier to just be like, well, this is like, like you're saying, it's not like you want to take it personally if people don't like engage with what you're doing, but like people do care about you guys. People love you guys as people and as a unit. And I think that that's like, whatever, if you were to open another business tomorrow, people would be like, I'm in, just because I think that they are good at what they do.
there's a lot of like care and passion into like and like energy we put into like whatever we create, I think, and like that experience. And so I think wanting to share that with other people is probably the good reason why people do, support the things that we have done, because it's we're trying to create that like environment not just for other people but for ourselves too. Like, for sure.
It's a little selfish, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I know that. I think it's a little selfish, but I mean, like what we do here, I enjoy as a job. So like, it's funny, like we do it for ourselves too. Like,
Yeah.
it's not that we do like it works out for everyone, but it works out really well for me.
I mean, I wouldn't even call it so, but here's the thing, like,
I really like my job, and it's great.
it's not selfish because you're doing what you genuinely want to do, and because you're doing that, you're doing it well, and people are leaning into that. If you didn't want to do this, like, if you didn't have that like level of, I don't know if I would call it selfishness, but if you didn't have that level of like I guess enjoyment and connection to it, then like who's gonna be here?
Yeah.
Like, so the selfishness is a good thing in my opinion.
Yeah, I know, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think that anything could be selfish, and it doesn't necessarily mean bad. Like,
No,
if
I
I
agree.
want to be a comedian because it feels good to laugh, and I want to make people laugh, and I want to make people feel good, that sounds selfish because it's like, oh, I'm getting it's me
benefit
doing the
from that,
thing,
yeah.
but like, I know that it feels good, and I just want to make people feel good. So it's like,
beneficial, you know
yeah,
what I mean?
Yes.
So,
Right.
Yeah, I think it can be selfish for both parties, but I guess that's not really how selfish.
Right.
I don't know what the definition is, but you got it.
it's not like it's not like you're just like, I'm happy with my job and I don't care what the customer experience is
Yes.
like.
Yeah,
You like want to make people happy, and people are enjoying your space and your
Yeah.
plants
Yeah.
and your company, and you get to also then be happy and work at a job that isn't necessarily low stress, probably lower stress than making glue.
It's very low stress.
Okay.
Yes.
Most of the time.
That's good.
Nowadays, it's very low stress. I think on the back end, it's higher stress, but
Yeah.
the performing part, it can be low stress.
Yeah, when when people come in and it's like
Yeah.
pretty chill conversations
Yeah.
Well, you also operate a space that is like attracts, I would say, probably chill people. You're just trying to get some plants.
We get very lucky with that. We hear some horror stories about people coming into restaurants, people get hangry.
Yeah.
Experiences where car dealerships, things like that.
Right.
So yeah, we get very blessed with the customers that we have, and they bring in. We set up a space with good energy. They bring in good energy, or they're open to the good energy that's here.
Yeah.
And it works out well for everyone on it, I would say. But,
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys probably luck out too, because you are surrounded. You're in a small downtown area. You probably get, you go to brunch, you're fed. You have like, maybe you get a couple mimosas, and then you're like, I'm gonna go buy a fucking plant, and you get happy.
Yes, shout out to my girl. That does happen on Sunday, and I love it.
So you're getting like happy people, probably more
people.
often than not, who are just like out to shop and
it's true. Even when we do have some folks in here that like aren't necessarily having the best day, usually when they leave, it ends up being like a positive turnaround, because, and I'm not, even just because they're in this environment with like all this like life with like the plants and just like the space and the music's bumping and like people are happy. I think it just like helps the environment for them, and then they leave feeling like, okay, like, if maybe the rest of my day was complete trash, like at least I had this moment of like a little bit of an oasis, and then they go back to their life,
Right.
So I think that's like definitely what was I saying?
Yeah.
That's on that.
And that's
And that's on that.
and that's real, but it's also a performance of like, somebody comes in, they're having a bad day, you like engage with them and you hope that they feel better, and you help them do whatever. And it's like, I'm thinking back to like being at Game Vault, where it's like, it was an arcade, so usually people would come in and they were pretty happy, but sometimes you get a couple screaming children and some parents that aren't happy. Sometimes you get grown men who don't get a good score at pinball, and then they're like raging.
Maybe the pinball got stuck.
Or maybe the pinball got stuck, or maybe it wasn't Windex properly, and everything's in flames.
They get ragey.
But like that, to me, I remember working that job and being like, okay, like I do care about this person. Like, I'm gonna be myself and talking to them, but I'm also gonna be there for them in a way that I might not organically. Oh no, Iron Man's not working. Like, do I care that much? I don't know, probably not, but I do care about the person. Like, it's just like, it's a real, this is why I feel so strongly about like when you're in customer service or when you're in business that interacts directly with people, it's like you do have to like act, but it's not like bad acting. It's not like I don't care at all and I'm going to pretend like I know what you're going through and I'm going to pretend to be empathizing. It's like, no, I do feel you on a human level, but I have to maybe amp it up a little bit or like know what I can relate to about if this guy comes in and he loves like baseball. I'm gonna pull out all the baseball knowledge I know, not much, but like, you know, just to be able to connect because I want to, but also because I want to make them feel good, if that makes sense.
But that's why you're a good human. Not everybody's like that, you know? Like, not everybody has that quality of, like, being able to, like, recognize that, or, like, it's maybe you don't connect to that same, like, thing with that person, like pinball or, you know, baseball or whatever it is, but knowing and understanding that and still being able to, like, connect to them and provide them that experience is, like is a really great quality to have. It's not a common one, right, Matt?
Yeah. No, Sam knows like that human connection that you get from another person is really important. I think that's the difference that it makes for people, because you never know that little. I think people can go through a whole day without even feeling connected. Like you're in 8 billion people in the world, but you can go through a whole day without even feeling connected to another human, and that's rough. That's rough. And coming from my background, what you were saying, that my background is as a chemical engineer, I worked a lot in manufacturing, traveling around, like the life that I used to live then versus the life I live now, and the amount of human connection I have now is very, very different. And I think that's a big reason why I like doing this, because you can provide that to people, and it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Yeah. And I think if every place someone went, there was just that little bit of human connection someone was looking with, I think everyone's lives would be better, right? I think they would markedly improve, but we just don't get that all the time. No one's fault, but I think we can all strive to do that for each other.
And that's why we built this place. And that was that first like snippet we got, even working at the arcade, of like that just sense of like having that magic. It's like a sense of magic, like that environment that could be created by just creating this space for people that, you know, brings them joy, brings them, you know, a sense of like community, or a sense of like, I don't necessarily like calling it an escape, because like obviously we're still living, you know, our realities, but like I think it just helps to have a space to, you know, feel like you have that connection or whatever in that community. And sometimes it's even just their connection with the games, or like for us, sometimes it's their connection with the plants, right? But just seeing that and like knowing that those spaces like exist is pretty cool. Yeah.
Before any of this, Sam, did you work at NBC? Is that where you were? Not NBC.
I did. Yes, I worked in New York City, and I worked at NBC. Well, I interned for Sony Music when I was still in school, and then when I graduated, I got a job working for NBC at Rockefeller Center. Actually, not even. I was across the street. Yeah. So I was not at 30 Rock. But yeah, I was there for a year. Not even. Yikes. I didn't even make it a year.
And but the thing I was thinking about that I said earlier is that, because I was trying to tell boy Sam about this. We have two Sams in the house this evening. And you like threw confetti at DJ Khaled or something like that.
I forgot about that, but yeah.
I cling to that memory because I just think that's such a funny thing to have to do as like a young intern or a new employee. Is like, okay, well, this guy's coming and you have to just go out there and throw glitter at him or whatever.
I was a confetti thrower for DJ Khaled.
What was that like? If you can remember.
You know, it's funny that you bring this up, because we were actually just in New York the other day, and I was we were passing the Sony building, and I distinctly told Matt and our good friend Karen, who's a loyal customer of ours, who we actually became very good friends with. So we all went to New York City together, and we're passing the Sony building, and I'm like, this is the bench that I had an existential life crisis on, because I was interning for this giant company, and I think I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I think a lot of young, like college students / even high school students, just young people in general, put a lot of pressure on themselves to get a great job and graduate and do big things and go to these big companies. And like, it was like a dream come true, right? To be able to work in New York City and work for Sony or, you know, NBC or whatever. And I remember the day that DJ Khaled was coming, and I was running all these errands for like the internship that I had, and I had to buy apple Ciroc and like all this stuff for his arrival. I'm not even kidding you. This is what I had to do for my internship, and I'm getting all these things, and then he comes and we're throwing all this confetti and it's a party. I'm like, in my head, the first initial reaction I had was like, okay, this is cool. But then I'm thinking to myself, like, what? This is actually like not. This is not it. Like, this is like, I think there's this level of like what is perceived to be like, you know, success or cool, or like what that reality is. And for me, I just remember being there, and I felt like almost like I was like watching myself doing this, and I just felt like it was almost like an out-of-body experience of feeling like I was there, but I wasn't. Like, I was just a person in the room, and I had no like sense of meaning there at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
So like, was it a cool moment? Totally. But not really, actually, like in reality, you know what I mean? Because it was just very much like me just throwing confetti for this famous person that I had absolutely no connection to, who didn't even know I existed. And, you know, I'm just behind the scenes in these moments. And I think for some people, maybe that's great. But for me, I just felt like in those moments is when I had that crisis of like, what am I doing with my life? Is this actually where I want to be? Is this actually what I want to do? Like, is being at these big companies like success? Because, you know, I'm telling, you know, my family members or whatever, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, like, wow, great, like, what a great job, but like the reality was like, you know, I was pretty miserable. I wasn't really like living my best life there. So I think it's a funny moment because it's so like extra. Like, it was just such a big, crazy, wild, like, music industry moment, and I felt totally disconnected from that entirely. And I think that is what made me realize that, you know, perhaps NBC would be different, and, you know, it was a little bit, but at the end of the day, like, still just like being in those environments was just not what I truly wanted to do. But like, I think I had this level of feeling like that was what success was supposed to be at that time.
Right.
So having to rewrite that as a young 20-something-year-old person was very difficult, because, you know, it's like I just had to tell myself that it's okay, that this isn't what we want to do.
Right.
And like figure it out from there. So yeah, wild moment.
It's
but
like
I
made out to be this thing. I'm glad that you forgot then, because it sounds like I just remember like thinking about that and thinking like that is a crazy thing to have to do. But it's like, yeah, it's not real. It's like
a
not
cool
a
story
real.
to tell, though,
but like it's not
way.
like you had a conversation with him or like anybody about, like, it's like we were saying, like the connection of that is not there. And I feel like likewise with you, Matt, I remember having I'm like pulling out random memories.
But this is cool to think. I mean, in the grand scheme of like where we are now, I think it's really cool to think about, because I think if you asked me like back then, like what I'd be doing in 5 years, 10 years, like I would have never been like, yeah, I'll be like I'm going to be a small business owner. I'm going to own a plant shop. And like that's with my husband, right? Like I would have been like, you know, you're crazy. Like I thought that hustle and bustle in the New York City, whatever, was what I was set out to do. That was my destiny. Mm-hmm. And that is literally the polar opposite of where I am currently. And I think that like shift is like a big one. So like looking back at that is like pretty cool to think about, because it's like you don't have to be somewhere to be where you want to be, if that makes sense. Like you can like go all of these crazy different directions and still end up in a space that like is best for you, even if you don't know it yet. Mm-hmm. And or you don't have to go to school. Like people ask us all the time, like, did you go to school for this? Like we didn't, obviously.
Right.
Matt's an engineer. Hashtag communications forever. Yeah. But you know, like it's just really cool to know that like your experiences don't have to line up with where you want to end up, like for the rest of forever, you know?
Yeah, you can do anything.
You can do anything.
And Matt, I remember there was a time when you guys were still living in Ewing, and you were like traveling or something, Matt, and I was there with you, Sam, and we were like on the phone, and Matt was just like, yep, I'm out here trying to figure out what one of these small fast food chains to go to for dinner. And like you were very like, it was like a funny, like we all were having like a funny conversation, but in hindsight it's like, yeah, you're out there traveling for work by yourself, just talking to Sam on the phone, because you're not like, it's like it really is like a special thing to have a job where you can be like connected to people all the time and like do this with somebody that you love, even if like the customers are not here right now,
Yeah.
as it is after hours. It's like you always have like a buddy in it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's like really cool.
I think that night I went to both Taco Bell and Chick-fil-A because we couldn't decide.
In the same night.
I like vaguely remember
They were
that.
right across the street from each other.
Yes.
Oh, where were you?
Would not recommend. I was in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Yeah.
Nice.
And there's
I don't
if you
even
look
know
it
where
up,
that
there's
is.
a Taco Bell. It's across the street from Chick-fil-A, and I couldn't decide, so I went to both.
And why would you not recommend going to both? Was it just because it was too much food?
It was just too much food. I think there's too many good things on both menus,
This is actually a really good way.
which is exactly why I went to both. But
Yeah, because you couldn't decide. I kind of remember that. And I want to take this time. I think that we can segue into the last segment, I think. How are we on time, Sam Levine? Oh, great. Okay, so then let's totally segue into the last segment. The last segment has nothing to do with performing at all. It has nothing to do with business owning. It has nothing to do with really anything. But maybe you, listener, viewer, will find this useful. I need you both to convince Sam Levine why Taco Bell is good fast food, because he has never had it and he is very resistant.
So there's a Taco Bell very close to here that you can go to on the way home. I would recommend
Right now.
And usually the service is pretty good
Okay.
at that Taco Bell. Just check your bag before you go. Sometimes they leave an item out, so it's a skill to check the bag. But I know I think you want to do like a 5-paragraph essay, or how should we convince?
Yeah, do we want to do another hour on Taco Bell? Because we could. You guys
yeah.
could for sure.
I think so. Yeah.
Pick 3 words that you would use to describe Taco Bell that would make somebody else want to go.
Cheesy
Taco Bell.
gordita crunch.
That's actually really, that's so funny.
Diverse, right? Diverse.
Diverse.
Yeah. Diverse.
Sure.
That's what came into my head first.
Let it simmer. Let it simmer.
Yeah. And then I would say, I was going to say options, but that's I'm not going to say that. Baja Blast, that's one word with a hyphen. That would be the second word.
Okay.
And then I think items would be the third word.
That's kind of the same as
Items.
options.
It's all the same.
So diverse means that there's a lot of. So I'll explain. Diverse means there's a lot of different things on the menu. No. There's a lot of different things on the menu. You have a lot of different options, right? Then 2 is Baja Blast, because Baja Blast is exclusive to Taco Bell. You can't get it anywhere else, which makes it important to try it once in your life. And then 3rd, items, not having to do with diverse, but you can order a lot of items because Taco Bell is mostly a combo list.
Yes.
There are combos, but I wouldn't suggest them. That you can order individual items, up to 6 or 8 if you're very hungry. Probably should share that amount of items, but
Yeah.
you can try a lot of different things.
He does know
Matt
lot
is a
about
big Taco Bell guy.
I will say, you don't have to be a taco person. Are you like?
Not gonna be a taco
You're not a taco person. Are you a
I'm not
taco
a taco
person?
person.
Oh, whoa.
Sam loves tacos. Sam is very
So,
anti-fast food when he wants to be, specifically about Taco Bell only. And so I'm trying to use this platform that I have to convince him, as he is acting as our engineer right now, to consider going to Taco Bell, possibly after this on the way home.
My overarching argument, having nothing to do with Taco Bell, is you should always try different new things, especially if they make you uncomfortable.
oh, that was beautiful.
Like, so one day it could be Taco Bell, the other day it could be starting your own podcast, and you never know where it goes. Maybe you really like Taco Bell, but you never know unless you try it.
Yeah,
Right?
and there are a lot of options that are, like you could even just go for the potatoes. They have
That's
really good
true.
potatoes.
You could go for the
That's all you gotta
potatoes.
If
do.
you wanted to ease in, you could do. I don't know if they have the nacho fries right now. It's a limited time item, which is a good thing about Taco Bell too. Is they're always changing their menu.
Nacho fries are a good
Yeah.
stepping stone because
Yeah.
it's
They're
like
just seasoned fries and
seasoned
nacho
fries
cheese sauce. So
with cheese.
That's great. They're always keeping you on your
Chef's
toes.
kiss.
they got to, yeah. What I'm talking about, we do the same thing here. We keep everyone on our toes. We get new shipments of plants every week. You know what I mean? We change
Yeah.
up the class menu every so often. Shout out to Taco Bell.
Shout out to sponsored by Taco
Taco
Bell.
Bell and plant shops.
No, we better than that. Taco Bell's pretty good, but like,
We almost have as many locations as Taco Bell.
diverse options. Those
Yeah,
are
3
actually
words to describe
Baja
your.
Blast. Those are 3 words to describe
Yeah.
our plant shop for sure.
Well, the plants are soaking
know,
in Baja Blast in the back
I would
room right
say
now.
that those are 3 probably pretty accurate words to describe our plant shop.
Diverse Baja
Diverse
Blast
options,
and
Baja Blast.
men items.
The Baja Blast is the experience.
Right. Because you have a Baja Blast
We have
in
an
here.
exclusive
We,
experience.
yeah, and
Yeah.
the Baja Blast is an exclusive item.
To Taco Bell, just like, well, yeah, some of the things we do here are exclusive to here.
Yeah, like you can't find that anywhere else, and it's perfect. It's
Well,
true.
I would agree. I thought you were going to make us pick items off the Taco Bell menu that each other would be.
well,
I know you do that
do you
sometimes.
want to do that?
No. It's your
It sounds
call.
like you want to. You're bringing it up
can't
because
just
you
say
want
that
to do
and
it.
Not tell me what that.
I that's what I thought. I was just sharing my insight as a listener.
Yeah, so
Do you
go ahead.
want to tell us what you think Sam is as a Taco Bell menu
As a Taco
item?
Bell item.
Crickets.
3 hours later.
And it's not, see, the easy trap to fall into would be just to pick the item she buys. But that's just the item she likes to eat.
Why did
because-
you bring this up if you weren't prepared to then?
Oh,
think
yeah, no,
that-
Yeah, I didn't. I don't have an
I
answer
thought
for
you
that.
brought it up because you wanted to say it.
No. I thought that's what you were going to ask.
Well, now I really want to know, and I'm prepared to sit here all night.
I have mine.
Oh, you can
Damn,
go.
go.
Yeah, so I would say that you are the Cinnabon Delights. And hear me out on it, because I know that it's not your traditional Taco Bell item, right? So the reason I say it is because
How many pieces?
the larger quantity one, yeah, because you're a tall human, so that's that. But I think
Warning to listeners: please don't order the large quantity Cinnabons and eat them all.
you might get sick. But I think because first of all, it's an unexpected item, right? I think that, well, first of all, a lot of people forget it exists. Sometimes people forget your name. Well, not anymore, but they used to.
Ouch.
They used to forget Matt's name all the time back when we were in school. Nobody knew his name.
It's the easiest name in the world.
So it really is the easiest name in the world. But
I'll tell you
Sorry.
the story after.
you can tell the story after, but anyway, it's a forgotten about item. However, it's like the underdog. Like, it's, if you want some dessert, like, it's actually like a pretty solid option. You've got like that. They're warm and they're cinnamony on the outside. They've got that spice, and like they're like, you don't know what's inside until you like bite it, right? So like you don't know what but Matt is this person that is he like packs a punch on the outside, so he's forward, and the spices are forward, right? But then on the inside, you're actually like very warm and gooey.
I knew you were going to say gooey.
They're very
Wanted to say
gooey.
it, but I didn't think it was like, it doesn't make sense. But you get me? Like,
Yeah, I think you. Yeah.
yeah,
You went in the right direction with it.
there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, pressure's on, Matt.
I would probably say I'd probably say a well-made Crunchwrap Supreme.
Ooh.
The reason is the Crunchwrap Supreme has a lot. Very popular. Crunchwrap Supreme. Sam is very popular. The Crunchwrap Supreme has an outer appeal because it has a very unique shape. So, not that Sam has a unique shape, but she has a very warming appeal. This podcast will come out after our holiday party, but Sam's going to get the superlative at the holiday party called "I'm not actually your friend," because everyone is so friendly to Sam. They think, Sam has such
I
a warming
understand.
element to her. It's meant endearing.
I-
But
thank
Sam
you.
has such a warming element to her that everyone thinks that they're her friend, and she's very nice.
Yes, I like y'all, but
yeah.
I am indeed not your friend.
No, she's
yeah.
very friendly.
But I am a very
But,
yeah.
Right.
So just like the Crunchwrap, everyone's like, you go to Taco Bell and people will order the Crunchwrap without knowing what it is, and then so it has a unique shape. It's very friendly, and then inside it has all these different elements. It actually has two separate sections, and then a tostada in the middle, which is hidden. So there's a lot of hidden
Little
things
layers.
about Sam. Not necessarily layers, not like an ogre, not like Shrek, or an onion or a cake, but it has a lot of different elements into it. And then the folding process is very unique, and Sam is very unique. So there's a lot of different things that go into it. The unfortunate part is that Crunchwrap Supremes are not made properly all the time. They're understuffed, and then the folding doesn't go correctly. So sometimes that can happen too if Sam is not, she doesn't get her rest, or she doesn't eat.
It can be a
It
disappointment.
can also be, she can get a little snippy. So very similar in a lot of ways.
Nobody gets to experience that but Matt. So
No.
I'm sorry,
So,
Matt.
Just like the only person that gets to because the Crunchwrap Supreme that's not filled correctly looks okay from the outside, but when you bite in, it is not a good time.
Yep.
It's similar how only the eater experiences that, not the person who makes it, and not anyone else there. So
Yeah.
it is just the sole experience of the eater.
It's only sometimes. It's only sometimes. Yeah,
It's only
and I'll admit it.
sometimes, yeah, it's only
I
sometimes. Only sometimes when there's a long line at Taco Bell that they rush the Crunchwrap and you don't get to go in.
yeah.
But
Thanks.
Yeah.
I guess.
is that good?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I think it was real, genuine.
Yeah.
Which is the theme of
Yes.
us and what we're going for.
It was very
right?
complex. I appreciate that.
Life is complex.
Yes.
Relationships are complex. Businesses are complex.
Yeah.
I'm blown away by that answer.
It was really in depth.
Sam is
and-
blown away by the
A little bit
answer.
to think about it.
Yeah.
Thanks for pitch hitting on me for the Cinnabons.
Oh, you're
You
welcome.
gave me some time to think about it.
Yeah, I got you. That's why we had a 10 out of 10 relationship.
To end on a fist bump is the only way to
Yeah.
do it here with Sam and Matt. All right, where can people find you on the internet? Where can people find you in real life, buy your things, see you, hang out with you, hang out with Sam, even though she's not really your
You
friend?
can
Sorry.
hang out with me. It's all good. Just like let me get some rest at the end of the night, and don't call me. Please don't call me.
Sam doesn't answer.
She will not
I don't
answer the
my
phone.
for that reason. The amount of calls. You can call the store phone. We're getting better at that. Answering our business.
That's good.
Phone. We're real people. We're real humans. I'll be the first to admit it. But yeah, don't call my cell, please. But you can.
Don't call the work phone and ask for Sam because she's
Don't do that either.
It'll be me.
I really do.
Yeah.
I
Well, people can find us at here, 46 East Main Street, Somerville, Suite 103, in between Turf, Surf and Earth and Salted Lime.
two wonderful places.
Somerville, New Jersey, not Somerville, Massachusetts.
Somerville, New Jersey.
Somerville, Mass is the inferior Somerville, sorry to say it.
08876 is the zip code.
Yes.
There's parking behind the store if you're visiting. The garage is free. Just don't park at a marked spot. They don't tow, but it's just inconsiderate for the people who have those spots. Where else? They can find us online at www.spottedleafco.
.co.
.com.
Let me enunciate it for you. www.spottedleaf.co.
Beautiful.
Okay? Or you can follow us on Instagram at spottedleafco. Yes. We have a Facebook, but sometimes it doesn't connect. So I really will try to do it a little bit better.
Instagram is our main portion.
At
If you
that.
subscribe to our email list, we get some good updates out through that too, which Sam works really hard on.
Yes.
Other than that, you can visit us here.
But you should come. Say hello.
You go to the website, which Sam clearly enunciated, and book a class here, which is a very great experience. It's one of
Yes.
the things I enjoy the most. Sam, myself, or three other teachers will teach it for you.
Yes, we are we didn't even explain what the heck we are, but we are an experiential retail plant shop, a business in the front, party in the back. We do, it's really how we say it, but we're a plant and sip, so it's like BYOB. You can come and you can bring wine and you can bring friends and you can make planty things like terrariums, and it's a really fun time and it's a very inclusive experience. All ages welcome.
If you listen to the podcast and come to a class with Taco Bell, you will get a free plant.
Yes.
Honored.
This is perfect. This is the
Whoa.
business
Watch
ideas I
everybody
need.
come in with
Oh my
Taco
God,
Bell.
please do
During our
it.
class experiences, you might get a free plant.
You will get a free plant.
Also, for people who listen to this podcast regularly, Brenner Crone, who was a couple episodes ago, had his wife's bridal shower here in the
did.
back of this very store that we're sitting in. So this is like these are real people. Obviously, every guest, I'm not famous enough to know strangers and have them on my show, but you guys are real friends. You guys are real people. Everybody's connected. I love New Jersey. I love the world and everything, and it's great. And I'm so happy that you guys got to come on my show and set up this wonderful space.
Ooh,
Wow.
I've got to go.
Perfect timing. Yeah.
No,
All right.
but for real, actually, though,
That plant somewhere is being watered.
It needs help.
What was that?
I don't know. Sometimes that goes off.
All right. Well,
But no, we are very grateful to be here, and we think that you shouldn't sell yourself short because you're doing a great job. And we've listened to your podcast, many episodes actually.
Yes, I listen to it on walks with the dogs. It's one of my favorite activities.
wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But we like the connection that you get, like, because you talk to so many different people and do so many different things, and with that overarching theme, like, I think it's really cool. And just side tangent, but I just think it's really cool that like performance can be looked at in so many different ways. Like, it's not like it's just like you sitting in front of a microphone and being an improv comedy person or like singing into a whatever. Like, there's so many ways that people relate to that same like feeling or I guess vulnerable state, and I think it's cool that like a lot of humans share that same experience, and I think that like human experience is really cool because you can see that through your podcast and see people like experiencing the same thing in different ways, but being able to like talk about that more is something that people don't do, and I think they should, because I think that will get people to relate to one another better, and like in that like cool Julie sense of humor way, because you're so cool and you have such a cool sense of humor, but like it's just a very cool thing to connect people in that way. Listeners from whoever they are like get to hear about other experiences that other humans are having that they might connect to, even if it's not exactly the same. So mad respect.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
I'm gonna cry in the store
cry.
bathroom after this.
But yeah, no, I think it's good. I think people can feel like they know know other people. I mean, people will listen to this and they'll feel like they know us better, even though we might have never met them or talked to them directly. And I think that's great, so people can feel more connected. Like, I feel more connected to you guys because I know you practice in a bathroom before you performed before.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but I only know that from just listening to the podcasts, right? So
Wow.
I think it's great for people to feel connected more, and that's what we do here, and that's what you're doing too. So. I really enjoy it, and yeah, I'm really proud of you. I like listening to the podcast. I like what you're doing, but you should be proud of you, and I think it's good for everyone. I think if everyone
you.
can do something good for everyone else, we'll all be better off.
We're all the
There we
same.
go.
We're all the same. It's the same experience.
We made it. Despite all odds, despite iMovie being the worst editing software I've ever used, despite my laptop being from 2013 and not being able to run basic things, we did it. We did a video episode, and thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. There's going to be more of this hopefully in the future, and I hope that you stick around for whatever is to come in the new year. As always, music is by Sam Levine, art is by Kelly King. Please bring Taco Bell to Sam and Matt's store. I would lose my mind. Please, somebody do it and let me know. And I'll see you guys in the next one.